Good morning, Yankees universe. KOD Nation, stand up. And you degenerates, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to this Friday's episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. We have a special episode today. Yes, it's a bit sad because, the Yankees came back, walked it off with Josh Donaldson, and then we got shellacked yesterday, fielding errors going crazy. But hey, it is what it is. This is the life that we live, and we're here to discuss it on the Yankees Morning Brew. But right now, I got a lot of things going on right now. I got my man Frankie in the background. I'm trying to get Jason from 161 River Ave to join us. I just got to send him the link, email him the link one more time. But besides that, we are all good. We are all good. I'm here. You're here. And we're all here. Shout out to the chat. I want to shout out my man, Mikey Mazza and the 4 Train Express. Mikey Mazza, salute, salute, salute. Shout out my guy, Keith Sanders as well. Keith, what is good, my guy? Happy Friday. Hope all is well. My man, Keith said, I'm not that worried about Montas. Matt Blake will fix him. Frankie throwing like he's still in Oakland. I'm sure Blake will fix that splitter fastball combo. Yeah, I agree with you. And then on top of it, right, Keith? On top of it, when it comes to it, yeah, that's out. On top of it, Keith, right? When you look at the numbers, the Toronto Blue Jays hitters had against Frankie Montas, I wasn't happy. After we left the show, I went out on a little walk, got my steps in. Got over 10,000 steps, pretty good. But I got my steps in yesterday, and I was listening to WFAN, and then they brought it up that Frankie Montas's numbers aren't good. So I was like, let me just dive deep into it. I looked it up, and they weren't. I think Vlad was 1 for 3 off of him. Alejandro Kirk 1 for 3. Springer 2 for 6, 2 for 5, something like that. But all it is that Montas, he struggled yesterday. You saw it. He still stood in there and battled, so the bullpen doesn't get depleted or the bullpen doesn't get killed. But hey, it is what it is. We got to wipe it off and move on to the next day. One thing about us fans is we get caught up and focusing on the loss, right? We get caught up and focusing on the win. When a team loses the way that they lose, they take that loss, throw it out that memory bank, and move on to the next one. Move on to the next game, move on to the next opponent. I know a lot of people frustrated don't want to hear that, but you got to understand, we got to take it one inning, right? Got to take it one inning, one batter, one out at a time. That's it. Moving forward, that's the attitude we have to have. Yes, there was some fielding errors yesterday. I think Donaldson or LeMahieu, so one of them. But one thing that we could rest our hat on is that Cabrera got his first major league hit, and it came in as a double. And then on top of that, he got another hit later on in the game. I know a lot of people upset, like, okay, he was 0 for 4 his first day, a couple strikeouts. He was 2 for 4, a couple strikeouts. He's a rookie. Let the rookie play. You saw the energy he had yesterday after he had that hit, bit off the grenade and threw it. But he's a rookie. So we got to let the rookies play. You got to keep throwing them out there. Even Estevan Florial, he was 0 for as well. But keep him out there, right? You got to keep him out there. You got to keep pushing those buttons because you never know what's going to happen, especially in 162 game seasons. This is why the Yankees at the beginning of the year, when they were healthy, mind you, because that's a big thing people like to forget. At the beginning of the year, when the Yankees were doing their thing, when they were steamrolling all over Major League Baseball, one thing that the Yankees had to their advantage that not every other Major League team has is that they had health. For the first 2 months of the season, our team was healthy. Our starting pitching was healthy. Our bullpen was healthy. Our lineup, our bench was healthy. As soon as the All-Star break happened and we came back, we lost Giancarlo Stanton. That's when our offense went into a spin. That's, if you look at our record, ever since Stanton has been out of the lineup, we have been under 500. at the beginning of the year, like I said, we could rest our hat on the fact that for whatever reason, the Yankees, the Yankee coaching staff, their fitness staff, however you want to put it, they had the Yankees doing some yoga. They had the Yankees doing some stretching. You had no cramps happening. You had no injuries happening. But you're not going to get that for 162 games, especially when you have somewhat of an older team. When you got Donaldson in there, when you got Rizzo in there, you can even say Stanton is a little bit old. But when you have guys that normally need breaks during the season and some guys break down, it's expected that you're going to have some injuries. It's expected that your lineup is going to struggle when you don't have the main cards and the main pieces in the middle of that lineup adding protection to the other guys. Because once Aaron Judge loses protection, once Rizzo loses protection, Stanton's not in the lineup. Who are you going to pitch to? Who are you scared of in this Yankee lineup? I know you're not scared of Gleyber Torres, especially with his 180 batting average since the All-Star break. You're not scared of Aaron Hicks, who's out there looking like a Ninja Turtle. You're not scared of him. So, guys, relax. There's a lot of doom and gloom in the Yankees universe. All right, I got my guy Jason backstage. I got Frankie backstage. I'm going to bring my co-host Frankie in 1 second. Then I'm going to hit that commercial and we're going to bring in Jason. But Frankie, my man, good morning, Franks.
Good morning.
How you feeling, brother?
Good. Late, got in a little late last night, but other than that, we're good.
Of course, because Frankie is always out on the town enjoying his adventures. Where'd you go last night, Frankie?
The Yankee game.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Game,
Yes. I forgot you went to the Yankee game.
Yeah.
What inning did you and your father leave? You could be honest with
me.
me.
We stayed the whole game. I kept asking him. I was like, there were Toronto fans behind us. I was like, dude, can we go? But he was like, no, we gotta stay the whole game. I was like, all right, man. All right.
That's why your father's the true MVP, bro.
Yeah. I know. I usually like to stay. If they're losing like 5-2, I would have wanted to stay.
Mm-hmm.
It was 9-2. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
And there were Toronto fans behind us, like.
But that's one thing, right, Frankie? I don't understand, and I'm gonna play this little clip right before we bring Jason in. But that's one thing I don't understand. If you got people spending $200, $150, $100 on a ticket, why are you leaving in the 6th or 7th inning? I understand a lot of people, their logic is they're trying to beat traffic. They're trying to beat traffic or whatever. But you're not the only people who are leaving at that time. There's a lot of people leaving at that time trying to beat traffic that's going to get caught in traffic. It's
right. We actually hit no traffic because most of the stadium left. So we hit no traffic going out pretty much. It was funny.
But yes, they lost. We don't want to go to the stadium and see a loss. But at the same time, you were able to go to the stadium and enjoy yourself and have a good time on a Friday night with your pops. That's all that matters at the end of the day, right?
Something, yeah. I mean, it was whatever, but
you go to the stadium, you spend $50 on chicken tendies. Come on.
Yeah, right.
All right, so I'm gonna play this real quick. Then we go bring Jason in to help us navigate this conversation. But guys, we'll be right back. Jason, good morning, baby.
What's up, guys, how we doing?
I'm good, bro.
Everything good? What's going on, Frankie? How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Looking forward to having a little baseball chat with you guys. I appreciate you having me on. It's gonna be fun.
Of course. Jason, it's an open door policy, brother. Whatever you want to come on to the show, you're more than welcome to. Right. But it's a lot of doom and gloom in the Yankees universe, and that's why I want to talk to you first, Jason. I'm gonna play this real quick because last night on Twitter, this is all I was hearing from the Yankees universe.
The self-destruct sequence has been activated. Repeat, the self-destruct sequence has been activated. This sequence may not be aborted. All employees proceed to the emergency car at the bottom platform.
Now, I love to listen to you in the morning and after every Yankees game, especially when they lose, because Jason has the unique ability to walk us off of the ledge and have us walk backwards. So, Jason, set the tone, and what's your message to Yankees universe right now?
Well, maintaining some perspective is one thing, okay? And I think understanding the pieces that are there, like you guys mentioned already, injury, okay? And that is causing people to, well, not only not play, but test the depth of that they have on the team, right? And I mean, you said it too, like, and you see it on my live streams every day. We're talking people off the ledge every night, right? The season's over. My God, this guy's dead, and this one and that. I'm like, this is a long season. I have never heard of a August 18th championship.
80%, right?
80% of the season world title. It doesn't exist. Okay, we still have 40-something games left, so it's important to keep that in mind, at least in my opinion. So. Yeah, we do talk a lot of people off the ledge. And my curiosity is, are these folks the same folks that are on the flip side too, where at the beginning of the season, the Yankees will win 130 games. That's it. 100, Judge 85 home runs. Like, are they the same folks? Are they just going here from one end to the other? I don't know. But but the fact is too, we're Yankee fans. We're emotional. We wear our emotions on our sleeves, right? So I get it. And it's justified feeling frustrated and sometimes discouraged, and even sometimes pissed when we see lazy play, right, or uninterested play. I get all those emotions, but again, we're Yankees fans. Like, I'm riding or dying with my team one way or another.
Same,
right, and that's the way it's always going to be. So I'm trying to put some positive energy and I try to look for a silver lining. Like last night, Lucas Licky was good. Oswaldo Cabrera was good. So even though the game didn't turn out the way that it did, I like to kind of point out the silver lining wherever we can, even though if it's drowned out by whatever and this and that. I don't believe Frankie Montez is the next Sonny Gray, like people say. I don't believe Esteban Florial is the next Joey Gallo, like people say. It just doesn't make sense. So, again, I try to use some sensible thinking here, too, with when you combine it with the emotion and the reality that we're living in Yankee land. So, again, Yankee land is not Brewer land. It's not Red land. This is the Bronx, dude. This is real stuff here. People keep it real, whether it's good or bad, and that's the territory that we live in. So, right, and that's what we navigate on our channels all the time. So, negotiating some very strong opinions, strong emotions, and I get it. And that's how we are. But again, it's real, right? That's what makes it special. So that's kind of how I try to help navigate things, and just to plug in any type of positive spin wherever I can, without ignoring reality. Yeah, these guys suck, but these guys are good too. So I kind of like to play both sides. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I'll throw it over to Frankie right after I say this thing real quick. And that's why I brought up, when you are on your show and in the morning as well, how you talk people off of the ledge, right? Because yes, we have been spoiled by the Yankees for the past 20, 30, 40 years, watching it as being a Yankee fan. And on the flip side of it, right, us being Knicks fans, right, that means that we can expect losing. Like, we give our loyalty to expecting nothing in return, right? That's why majority of Knicks fans are great husbands, because that shows that you can love something unconditionally and not expect anything back in return, right? But us Yankee fans, right, and there's a lot of Yankee fans, like you said, Jason, that at the beginning of the year, 150 wins, 104. Judge is going to have 100 home runs. And now it's the flip side. It's, they're not going to even get to. I had one guy. There's a guy. He's known in the Yankees universe in the chat named Michael Caputo. I love Michael Caputo to death, but I got a $600 bet with him. He said the Yankees are going to lose the division. The Yankees are not going to even get to 85. I cannot wait to spend his money on a bunch of unnecessary things that I do not need in my life right now. But Frankie, go ahead, bro. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, as much as it sucks that we're struggling right now, like we're under 500 in the All-Star break and all that stuff. But I've said it. That's why those wins earlier in the year are so important. because all teams go through this. Like, all teams go through these slumps, and we're in a bad slump, and we still have 9 games on the Blue Jays. We're still 9 games up in the division. So that's why starting off with a 800 win percentage in the first half is so important and crucial, because if we started off like last year, We're not even close to the playoffs. We're probably out of the playoff race right now. So that's why those wins earlier in the year are extremely important. So I feel like a lot of people do not realize that. And everyone's like, oh, they suck. They're not the same team as they were in the first half. Like, did you really think that an 800 win percentage was sustainable, dude? Like if you thought that first half of the season was sustainable, I don't know. I just don't understand what you're watching. I don't understand. I don't even think you understand the way baseball works. If you think that honestly, if you think that was sustainable, I just can't see. That's just impossible.
It goes against the law of averages, right, Frankie? When you look at the law of averages, when you look at this team at the beginning of the year, Jameson Taillon was not going to be the next Greg Maddux. Let's be real. He started the season off beautifully. His walk rate was very low. You know, he wasn't going to be the breakout star this year. We would have loved it. We definitely would have embraced it. We would have loved it. Whatever you could get out of Jameson Taillon is what you get out of him. He'll give you some flashes here and there, but then he'll go on stretches where he look lost. Now, I know a lot of people are frustrated, and I'll throw this over to Jason right afterwards, with the Jordan Montgomery trade, right? Especially when you got Harrison Bader, who literally just took off his walking boot, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of days ago. And then in his first 3 or 4 starts with St. Louis, he's only given up 1 run, if I'm not mistaken. Jason, what's your sentiment when it comes to that? And on top of it, Joey Gallo's looking like Babe Ruth in LA.
So to both your point, you guys make good points. Let's start with Montgomery first. I mean, it is what it is. We're 3 games in, and again, I can't judge both sides because we haven't even seen the other side yet. We haven't seen anything yet, so it's impossible to judge. But it's easy to just say, "Oh my God, the Cardinals won the trade." It's easy to say that, right? And I don't like to do the easy road stuff. So so I'm gonna wait until Harrison Bader plays, and a couple of little things here. We have him under control until through next year too. So in the event that Benintendi walks, we have him to cover Benintendi. So that's, I think, youth and protection that Cashman was also looking for. I also think, and I could be wrong, but they were of the mentality that Montgomery was not going to make the postseason rotation. So they wanted to get some offensive versatility in there, right-handed hitting versatility, guys, because he can hit righties better than lefties. And the guys who we would be facing, the Astros, the Mets, majority righty pitchers. So somebody who might be able to face that. And again, he's the number 1 defensive center fielder in baseball. We've had some defensive problems, okay? Esteban Florial is an elite defender, but when you play him once a week, it's really hard to capitalize on it, right? So right now, it's easy to say that the Cardinals won the trade, but I can't judge it yet because we haven't seen the Yankees side yet. So I'm happy for Montgomery. He's pitching well. I think transitioning from the AL to the NL is a lot easier than going from the NL to the AL. Yeah. So had he gone the other way, I can't say it would be the same, right? And with regards to Joey Gallo, I just don't think it was a fit here. Now, I'm not saying he couldn't handle New York. Like, there's a lot of people you can say that he can't handle New York. Sonny Gray, Jack McDowell. But he's not Jack McDowelling fans either on his way out, right? He's not giving a finger at everybody. So
he's not pulling a Julius Randle. Go ahead.
Exactly. When they're asking him questions, he asks them. So it's easy to say he's playing the victim, blah, blah, but he also wasn't volunteering this information. He was asked this information 6 million times by Yankee reporters. At some point, you're going to get something out of him. And again, it just seems to be a better fit and a better environment for him in L.A. And LA is a big market, but it is not New York. So I don't care what anybody says, it's not New York. So, the fact is it wasn't a fit. I don't see the point in harping on it. I just want to keep moving forward. I want to see what Harrison Bader can do. I want to see what these kids can do. So, that's the way I look at it. I mean, bashing those guys at this point right now doesn't make any sense anymore because it's not going to make the team any better. So I know people like to do it, but I don't personally see the point. But that's kind of the way I look at it. I mean, Montgomery's doing well. I'm happy. Can't judge the trade. Gallo just seems to be a better fit in LA. And that's kind of the way I look at it. What about you guys?
No. Go ahead, Frankie.
Totally agree. Being like to your point, we haven't even seen Bader yet, and we know what Bader can do. He's tremendous speed, tremendous defense in the outfield. So once he comes back, it's going to really help out, level out the whole team because we don't have a ton of speed. So him coming in the lineup is going to bolster our lineup for sure. I mean, as much as we hate Aaron Hicks, I don't I don't see how much of an upgrade Esteban Florial is over Aaron Hicks. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I don't really see it.
Mm.
But I don't know. Bader is definitely better than the both of them. So when he's able to come in 2 or 3 weeks, it's definitely going to be big for our lineup.
And if I can point something out, Bader was similar to Rougned Odor. Not a big, sexy average, doesn't hit for high average, but he gets clutch hits.
Yeah.
When Odor was here, he was tying the game, putting us in the lead with clutch hits. He batted 210, but he put us in the game or ahead of the game so many times. And that's what Bader's known to do. So it's that intangible alone that I'm really interested to seeing how well it fits here. And I think if it works, he's going to be beloved by the fans immediately. So
that's a great point when you bring up Odor, because he had a low batting average of 210, but he was still in top 5 on the team when it comes for hitting with runners in scoring position. So he was very productive for us last year. But when you just to bring it back a little bit with Joey Gallo, and I know you touched on this on your channel, one issue that I had was with Michael Kay and how he handled the situation, because to me, I view Michael. I've been watching Michael Kay since I was in high school, right? He's the voice of the Yankees for me. I may not like him 100%, but I understand that he represents my franchise and he is the voice of that team. I just found it disheartening for the entire season. Anybody who called up the show, he went out of his way to say that, oh, you guys are out of your mind, went out of his way to find anything to defend Joey Gallo on. But as soon as Joey Gallo leaves, he's trying to endure himself to the toxic fan base of the Yankees and start beating up on Joey Gallo and calling him a victim. It's when people use buzzwords like, oh, he's making himself a victim. What do you mean by that? It makes me second guess. What do you truly mean by that when you say that type of word? So I just felt that it was bad taste from Michael Kay. I expected better from Michael Kay. And I felt Joey Gallo handled that situation well, like I brought up with Julius Randle. If you compare what Julius Randle did last year to the Knicks fan base, to the Knicks season, to what Joey Gallo did, there's no comparison to it. Joey Gallo never cursed the fans out. Joey Gallo never put blame on the media. Joey Gallo you never saw him arguing with either teammates or even coaches. So I just felt that it was just a bad taste from Michael Kay. What's your thoughts? And then you throw it over to Frank.
That's why I called him out on Michael Kay on my channel, because I thought it was unprofessional. And the fact is, you stand there and be booed by 50,000 fans for a year and a half straight and see how it feels. Yeah. Kay's never been in that situation. So to start calling them names, and he flipped the script on Gallo, right? As soon as he said he was playing the victim, he lost me immediately. He lost all credibility because, again, playing the victim would be essentially going out there and volunteering the information. He wasn't doing that. People were asking him these questions, so he decided to answer them. To me, that's a different approach, right? A different take. And the fact is, too, like I said, with New York fans can be brutal. I wouldn't want to walk out of my house either if I know people hated me, wanted me to get hit by a truck. Like the stuff that people say sometimes is brutal here, right? So, and the fact is, if he hasn't been in that position, it's really hard to put yourself in Gallo's shoes and say those things. So I felt it was hypocritical, and that's why I called him out on my channel. So, and I'd be happy to discuss it with him personally, like on the channel. Yeah. I thought it was unprofessional. And, I think he made a lot of good points up to that point. But as soon as he did that, I didn't see the point. I didn't see the point in that. I mean, what are your thoughts, Frankie?
Yeah, I mean, Joey Gallo, the poor guy, he couldn't leave his apartment to get breakfast on an off day. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't leave his apartment and go and go get pizza in Manhattan. You know what I mean? He couldn't do any of that. I mean, to an extent, it was on him, for not performing well. But no one deserves to be treated the way Joey Gallo was treated, but not just the fans, but also by Michael Kay. Like I said, he couldn't leave his apartment. You know what I mean? Wow. And once he got traded, Michael Kay was like he was kicking a dead dog at that point. You know what I mean? Like, and to both of your points, it's not like he was coming out in his post-game interview and just saying, I hate the fans or this. He was like being begged. He didn't want to say it. He never let it be known. I mean, we all know, but he never came out and blatantly said it. But he had to get it picked out of him. He had to get it dragged out of him for him to say all that. So for Michael Kay, it wasn't just unprofessional. It was him just not knowing the situation, I think. It was him not doing his research on what Gallo said and how and when he said it. You know what I mean? He didn't
When
deserve to be chewed out by the fans, let alone the announcer of his favorite childhood team. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
when you look at like the tactics that a lot of athletes they do when it comes to handling certain situations, especially on social media. There's so many athletes with burner accounts, right? There's so
Yeah,
many
Kevin Durant.
athletes that go on Twitter to have arguments with people. Joey Gallo was not that type of
No,
player.
no.
You did not see Joey Gallo arguing with a fifth grader on Twitter and the DMs because he struck out 3 or 4 times. In left field, you didn't see Joey Gallo look disconcerting or just not interested into the fans, because yes, he was out there in left field, but he was still engaging with the fans. There was still videos of Joey Gallo having conversation with fans, signing balls, signing autographs. After every game, he was there answering questions. There was a time, and I keep on bringing Julius Randle up, and maybe the responsibility on their teams are different, but there was a stretch for about 2 to 3 months that Julius Randle wasn't talking to the media, wasn't talking to reporters after game. Joey Gallo made himself available after every game to answer the question, to be there to take on the criticism, and he's never, not once, blamed anybody else but himself. If you listen to those interviews, if you read the transcripts, he says it clearly. I grew up a Yankee fan, and I'm gonna have to wear this for the rest of my life, that my time with the Yankees was a disappointment and I sucked. He said it.
Yeah,
He said it. He
that's
made no
exactly what he
excuse.
said,
He
yeah.
didn't try to say I had an injury or anything. He said it. He made no excuses. He took responsibility. I felt from an athlete, he took responsibility. And like both you guys say, for Michael K, it was just a bad taste. It was just bad taste.
Bad taste.
And I understand that that's what they do, right? As a voice of this, that they're gonna make noise one way or another, whether it's positively or negatively and stuff like that. But I mean, it's at that point he was gone. There's no point in keeping the guy when he's down anymore. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the point? So you're probably right, catering to a lot of the haters. But again, look, we're fueled by the haters, baby.
Exactly, baby. Exactly. And just like Jigga Man said, right, at the end of the day, K is winning because we're all still talking about him. So let's move on.
He's right. I mean, he's right.
He is. I think we could all leave this conversation with agreeing that Michael K is a human embodiment of a thumb. And let's move on to the next conversation. Jason, if you can, we're going to break down last night's game, just the lineups real quick, if you don't mind just tagging along with us, dissecting it real quick, and then we move over to the topic that I wanted to bring up about the season. But I want to bring up I think this is the Blue Jays. Yeah, this is the Blue Jays real quick. So I'll go through the lineup real quick. Frankie, you handle the pitching, and then afterwards, Jason, anything that stuck out to you. So for the lineup side, George Springer, phenomenal, 5 for 5. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 1 for 5. Gurriel, 1 for 4. Alejandro Kirk, 2 for 4. Teoscar Hernandez, 2 for 5. Bo Bichette was 1 for 5. Matty Chaps was 1 for 5. Espino, the second baseman, was 0 for 3. And Whit Merrifield, who was pinch hit for Jackie Bradley Jr., who took over for him in center field, was 0 for 3. The lineup for me, Jason, any standouts in this lineup?
Well, George Springer, obviously, that's his 4th time with a 5-hit game. But I think it's a combination of Blue Jays and the Yankees. I mean, right now, I think with Frankie Montas, they took advantage of – I think Frankie Montas is a release point problem. And a lot of his pitches are not hitting the release points, so they're becoming hittable. And for a team like this, they're going to feast on that, okay, these bats. And I think they feast on it. Vlad Guerrero hit that home run to the opposite field. It's just – and as look at the balance, there's only 2 guys in there without any hits. So it's a pretty relentless lineup. But Springer was impressive. Even Kirk – catcher was impressive, and he can run for a big dude. So
yeah, he can. You may want to reach out to him, Jason, and try to figure out his running dynamics, how he gets that going.
Exactly. I think it was a relentless attack, and they keyed off mistakes made by Montas. So I mean, to credit to them, well done, and credit to Jose Berrios too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Frankie. Handle the pitching side.
Well, Jose Berrios, the starter, went 6 2/3, gave up 6 hits, gave him 1 earned run. He walked 1 and struck out 9. Anthony Bass came in. He got 1 strikeout and pitched a 3rd inning. Yusei Kikuchi, it was weird to see him. He's a starter. Do 1 inning, give up 1 hit, 2 runs, walked 1 and struck out 2. And Jordan Romano, also weird to see him. I'm pretty sure he's their closer. He came in through 1 inning, gave up 1 hit, no runs, one walk, and he struck out 2. And the winning pitcher was Jose Barrios.
Yeah, 9-5 on the season. And I'll throw this over to you, Jason, real quick before I bring up the Yankees lineup. It just felt to me that Barrios was type walking the entire game. That the Yankees almost could have had that big inning, but they just couldn't put it together. What was your thoughts on Barrios last night? Because I've always been a fan of Barrios, going back to him pitching with Minnesota, him pitching for the Puerto Rican team. So I've always been a fan of him. Go ahead, Jason.
He was just a second ahead of a lot of our hitters. And we were just either behind pitches or under pitches. We were popping things out. Again, runners in scoring position problems. Again, getting out, striking out with guys on base, and grounding out to double plays with guys on base. And we missed a couple of innings where they could have had 3 runs, 2 runs. It could have been easily a 7-6 game instead of a 9-2 or something like that. Yeah. So he was just ahead. He knew exactly what to do, I think, and with Kirk to just get our guys to miss pitches, right? Mm-hmm. And again, that's a credit to him. These guys are right now a little bit ahead of. They know how to capitalize on the Yankees reeling right now. And again, it goes to an unbalanced lineup. We've got a lot of guys that are considered automatic outs in this lineup, right? So we're missing so many players. So I think these guys know how to feed off it and capitalize on it, and that's exactly what they're doing until we get Stanton back, who I think is going to make Judge better, make Rizzo better, give us more balance. So. That's kind of how I'm viewing this stuff. They're just ahead of our hitters.
Yeah. This team is just not the same without Stanton.
Right. Yeah, 100%. You're not scared of anybody without Stanton, And as much as Rizzo means to this team, I love Rizzo. What he's done here in New York. But if you think about it, Rizzo, he's not a real number 3 hitter. If you think about it, if Rizzo was on the Dodgers, for instance, Rizzo would be a 5 or 6 hitter in that lineup. He wouldn't be a number 3 hitter in that lineup. I love what he's doing, but the production he's doing is a production of a 5-hole hitter or a 6-hole hitter. Maybe a cleanup hitter on a better team, but for our team as a 3-hole hitter, he's just there to add that righty-lefty combination behind Judge and between Stanton. But go ahead, Frankie, handle the lineup, and I'll toss it to Jason afterwards.
DJ led off at second, went 2 for 5, and Judge and Wright 0 for 4. Rizzo went 2 for 3. At the stadium, we all thought that his double was gone. Everyone in our section was going nuts. And we're like, oh, it was it was funny. Donaldson went 1 for 4. Benintendi another 0 for 4 game. We all thought his was gone too. Glaber 0 for 4. Oswaldo Cabrera went 2 for 4 with a double. His first 2 fair hits. Good for him. Jose Trevino went 0 for 3 with a walk. Frankie Montas. I was reading the pitching. Esteban Flores went 0 for 3, but he was hit by a pitch.
Yeah, he was hit by a pitch. He did get on base. Any standouts for the lineup for you, Jason?
Well, the Mayhew is just kind of having a quietly very effective year. And even Oswaldo Cabrera, his first 2-hit game, first 2 hits of the season. So he's been pretty impressive, actually. He's been kind of hanging in there, doing his things, and he's showing that he can hang at the major league so far. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he, to me, was most impressive in this lineup. I do see Benintendi getting better. But again, like guys like Gleyber Torres, the way he's swinging, too many times going for home runs. So they're going to know how to be over him or under him and whatnot. They're going to know how to avoid these home runs. Yep. But to me, Mayhew and Oswaldo Cabrera was my standout guy in the offense.
100%. DJ, he's just a professional hitter. Andrew Benintendi, I would like to see Andrew Benintendi get it going. He has a couple games where he has 2 hits or a hit. It just he hasn't put it together consistently for a long period of time. Yeah. His batting average since he got here with the Yankees is 211, 215 around there since he's come to the Yankees. Hopefully in September he just wipes off the trade deadline, jitters and just keeps it moving. But for tonight's game, real quick, Jason, any predictions on the lineup for tonight's game? Do you think it's something similar to this, or is there anyone missing or are going to be taken out that you think?
Well, I think IKF will be back in the lineup. And if I'm them, I'm not batting Benintendi 6th or 7th or 5th or whatever. I want him at the top, personally. Mm-hmm. And even if you bat IKF 9th, at least you got a fast guy and then fast guy with Benintendi, and then DJ be batting 2nd with Judge third at this point. Give it Judge as most opportunities possible to drive as many runs in as possible, right? A bunch of solo home runs isn't going to do much when we need a 2 or 3 run home run. Or even if doubles and singles, it drives in guys when you have guys on base. So I would be putting speed at the top, contact right after it, and then the power after that. I'd be batting Judge third, Rizzo fourth. And until we have Stanton back, I'd be batting Stanton fifth, but it's got to be Donaldson probably fifth or something like that. And then Torres. I mean, I don't know if they're going to play Cabrera. If they play IKF, then there's a chance they might sick labor Torres and play Cabrera. So, I mean, he's played for IKF so far, and I could see
Donaldson.
And Donaldson, yeah. So I could see Donaldson getting a day off too. And I think him and a couple of these other guys could use it. Even if Florial could probably use a day off, but I wouldn't give him more than one day off. Like I don't like the whole thing where you call him up and you play him one game, you sit him for 5, and then you play him for one game.
Yeah,
you're going up to the hardest league in baseball, right? He could be producing in AAA, but it's really hard to go higher, play less, and expect to produce the same. Really, really hard. That's a really tough logic to defend, right? So I wouldn't be sitting Florial or Cabrera any more than once. One game.
No, 100%. Even if the Yankees want to stick with the logic of batting Judge in that 2 spot because they fall in love with it and that's where they need to put him for some reason, then have Benintendi still lead off, have Judge be the second hitter, Rizzo 3, and then have DJ protecting Rizzo, because a big reason why this offense is struggling right now is because Rizzo is not getting the protection he needs. Yes, he had a double yesterday, a home run the day before, but pitchers are going to start pitching around Rizzo. So when Rizzo doesn't have any protection, then Judge doesn't have any protection. Then it doesn't matter if DJ gets on second. Nobody has protections to drive him in. So if they want to keep the whole Judge batting in the 2-hole situation going, Benintendi leading off, Judge, Rizzo, and then DJ, and then figure out the rest of the lineup. But I think today when you bring up the IKF, I think IKF would be back in the lineup. But I want to see if they play IKF at third base and leave Cabrera at shortstop.
You could do
Maybe.
that. You could sit Donaldson, put IKF at third. You could do that too. And then, play Cabrera. Then you get more athleticism in the infield. And I also think they're probably going to play Higashioka tonight because Tyon's pitching. Cole's pitching tomorrow. So I think Trevino and Cole's probably going to be a more frequent tandem since they play well together. So I think they want to capitalize on Cole's arsenal. So I think Trevino's a better guy to do that, to get it out of him. So I see Higashioka being in the lineup too tonight. But sitting Donaldson and playing IKF at third is not a bad idea.
Over to the pitching side of this, we brought up Montas, but even though he did give up 6 runs, he still stuck in there and still pitched 6 innings to get his pitch count up, because that's one thing that people are forgetting. He's coming back off an injury. This is not last year Frankie Montas who could just rear up and just throw it past you. No, he's coming back off an injury, like Jason pointed out a little while ago, is missing his release point. He's still trying to figure that out right now, especially on a new team, on a new mound, and a new stadium. I know this is still the American League, but this is the American League East. The AL West, besides the Houston Astros, the AL West, who else is scaring you in the AL West? The Seattle Mariners just started playing well after Frankie Montas was traded away. So I give Montas some break when it comes to that. And by the playoffs, I think he will be back into shape and be the Frankie Montas that we expect to be. Hopefully, that's what we need anyway. But Albert Abreu, he pitched the inning, 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 1 K. It's a hit or miss with Albert Abreu nowadays. Albert Abreu, he shows you some good things, and then he shows you a couple bad things. But Lucas Licky, like you pointed out, 2 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. Any silver lining? There you go with Licky. Go ahead, Jay.
If I could point out something with him and Wandy Peralta, they're both now like a 2.6 ERA. They've been quietly very effective from the left-handed side. Not super dominant, but consistent this year. I don't say it's sexy from Wandy or sexy from Licky, but they're getting it done. So, and that's. I mean, they don't have an intimidating arsenal like Aroldis Chapman, who throws 100. He's a Hulk who throws 103. He just needs control. But like those guys have been quietly good. So I like to give them credit for that too. They have some stinkers every now and then, but so does the rest of the crew. Efrost has been pretty good too, and then Trevino's still. We're seeing a little of the up and down from Trevino, but again, I think we're getting what we need for the most part from the bullpen. And losing King really hurt. Like it put them in put them in a predicament where, and I think these guys are doing pretty well in lower leverage situations, like Licky and Wandy sometimes he goes into the closer, he replaces Holmes, like he does stuff and gets dudes out. So
and Wandy, he can go more than just an inning. He can give you an inning in 2/3. He can give you 2 innings.
And the other thing too, Frankie Montas is giving them length. So, with the exception of the one game, he's giving them 6 innings. Like he'll go 6 and 7 on the regular. We need guys like that too, who are going to take the load off the bullpen. And to me, having a couple of long relief guys helps bridge the gap from the starters to the short relief guys. So those guys are valuable weapons. I think King is a super valuable weapon, and we need somebody to replace him, whether it be Clark Schmidt or somebody who can give them 2 or 3 innings of reliable pitching. I think Severino can fill that role. I'm a little worried about throwing him right back to the Wolves in the rotation because he's already surpassed his. He threw 80-something innings already, or 90-something innings. He hadn't thrown that much since 2018. So I would rather take 2 or 3 innings of just darts, right, from Severino, nasty darts in the middle of a game, or instead of trying to throw him into rotation again and then a month from now having another shoulder problem. So that's my worry with Severino. So he would be a nasty weapon in middle relief.
If we take a step back, right, and I'll go back to the bullpen in a second, but if we take a step back and we look at the starting rotation, if we try to light it up in the postseason, first off, the postseason nowadays is different than it was back in the days. You got more rest days in between games. They want pitchers to be fresh. They want teams to be the most competitive that they can be without giving a full advantage, if you understand what I mean. But when it comes to this team, let's try to line it up. It'll be Garrett Cole, Frankie Montas, and then it'll be Nestor Cortez in that 3 spot. Now, all we need from Nestor Cortez in the playoffs, give us 5, maybe 6 innings and pass it over to that bullpen. Now, it's the 4th pitcher. Like, are we going to overextend Garrett Cole? Are we going to push him to that limit like CC Sabathia was pushed with the Milwaukee Brewers back in right before he came over to the Yankees? Like, what's your thoughts on that, Jason?
I'm actually closely monitoring Jameson Taillon because he's been giving us length too, and 7 innings on a regular basis. He hasn't been. He's still, what is he, like 12-3, something like that.
He has the most wins of any Yankee starting pitcher.
Yeah, so he could be a 4th, and I think if we're going to use those, if we're going to have Nestor Cortez in there, then we have to have a 4th guy. Because again, Nestor Cortez being on somewhat of a, he's already 25% over his career high in innings this season. So riding a fine line there. So again, I want to add some Clark Schmidt, make a 6 starter right now to kind of preserve that guy particularly because I want to continue to be effective. I don't want it to get to the point where the playoffs and then he starts diminishing returns. So I want to keep him healthy, and the same thing goes to Taillon, who's had 2 Tommy Johns, who's had injury issues. So personally, I would have a 4-man rotation. I also want to protect Garrett Cole too. I want him to stay dominant. But like those guys with Severino in long relief, and even Clark Schmidt in long relief, I would take those 2 guys in long relief. Clark Schmidt has shown the ability to throw 3 nasty innings on a regular basis. So those guys, I think, would be a good bridge to the power arms. Now, who's going to get the power arms in the back end? We don't know. But I'm guessing it's probably going to be Efros, Chapman. I can't see Britton making it. Crazy things have happened. I know he's been rehabbing and stuff, but maybe Miguel Castro, he might be on the borderline too. But the addition, he might make it over Trevino. I just don't know yet. Because Trevino's got to get
it would be either Castro or Trevino, either or, because there's been stretches that Castro shows you how nasty he could be, but then he loses it.
So I think the question is they're still trying to figure out themselves. But if it were me, I'd be doing a 4-man in the playoffs right now. Later on, if they get deeper into the postseason, then you can go to a 3-man. But I wouldn't start with a 3-man and just kind of drill them all the way through. I would do that towards the end because then I want more Cole. If we get to the World Series, I want Cole twice at least. Yeah. So that's the way I'm looking at it too.
Frankie, what's your thoughts on that when it comes to the rotation?
Because
I'm sorry, Frankie, because whenever I have to talk about pitching or anything like that, I like to segue to Frankie because he's the only person that actually pitched when it comes to this 2-man show. Go ahead, Frankie.
Yeah, so I definitely think we should do a 3 or 4-man rotation. And back to Montgomery, I think that was more of a postseason trade than it was a regular season trade because he probably wouldn't get a start in the playoffs. So if we can have like a rotation of Cole, Montas, if Montas turns it around, and then Nestor, that's a pretty good 1-2-3 punch. If Nestor in the playoffs can give us 5 innings with 3 runs, I don't see any problem with that. You know what I mean? 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 3, something like that, to where he keeps us in the game and gives over to a bullpen. I think that would be huge going down the stretch in the playoffs. And I don't know if Tyone starts in the playoffs. He's iffy for me.
Mhm.
So I think depending on how well Tyone pitches down the stretch, I think that's going to determine what the team ends up doing with Severino. If they push him into a third or fourth man in the rotation, or if they put him into like a middle relief guy, I think Tyone is going to be the guy that determines that down the stretch.
Yep.
And I think that starts tonight against Toronto, how he throws tonight against Toronto, because Toronto and offenses like Toronto is what we're going to see come playoff time.
Yeah, we're only going to see good teams in the playoffs. That's it. Just
yeah.
You need the right pitchers.
Yeah. And when it comes to Tyone, I agree with you, Frankie, because it's like Jason said. These past few starts, he's been giving you 7 innings. He's been giving you 6 innings. He's looking like the Tyone at the beginning of the year. So it's like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. It's like sometimes he's good, and then sometimes he's really, really bad. But Tyone, he's leading us when it comes to wins, right? Yeah. He is somebody that could pitch innings and could just have the bullpen not be stressed out. So if we're in a series, say like a 5-game series, if we're up 2-0, or if we're up 3 games and this is the last game of the series, I have no hesitation in not letting Tyone pitch. Go ahead. Why not? Why am I going to burn Garrett Cole an extra day? Why am I going to put myself behind the 8 ball by wasting him on a series that we're about to win? You know, if it's a situation that it's the 5th game and it's 2-2, I may be more hesitant with starting Tyone in that situation. But it all has to fall into the right order. You brought up great points, Jason, when you brought up Severino. Severino, he could be like Phil Hughes in 2009 in the bullpen, right? Phil Hughes was a starter, but then he got hurt and he came back later on. Put him in the bullpen for the playoffs. I think Severino in the bullpen is the better fit than having him as a starting pitcher. And when you really take a step back and look at it, right, when it comes to with these playoffs, the postseason within the past 5 years for the Yankees, or since Aaron Judge has been here on the team, it hasn't been our pitching that has hurt us. It's been our hitting.
Yep.
We haven't gotten timely hits. We haven't gotten hits with runners in scoring position. When we faced Houston and everybody talks about the trash cans and they were cheating, well, it doesn't help us that during that series, while we played in Houston, we only scored 2 runs in Houston. You're not going to win games on the road in Houston by only scoring 1 or 2 runs in 3 games. Yeah. So it's been our hitting that's been our Achilles heels. Yes, Chapman's has given up the home runs and the walk-offs, but our starting pitching and our bullpen has been solid. You know, everybody loves to beat up on Garrett Cole, but they forgot Garrett Cole's first start against Cleveland in the playoffs, and he was phenomenal. Yes, he had that clunker against Boston last year, but in the postseason, Garrett Cole, I trust Garrett Cole in the postseason. Yeah, me too. He has a resume that backs it up.
Career sub-3 ERA in the playoffs. Career sub-3 ERA.
Yeah, and Jason, I think on Instagram, or I think I texted you I think a graphic, I think Sweetie Murdy put out when he broke down. When he broke down Garrett Cole has a 2.60 ERA. CC Sabathia ERA was in the 7 in the postseason before he came here with the Yankees. Andy Pettis ERA was in the 6 before he had that phenomenal game against Boston.
And to your point, because I'm glad you brought that up, because he said the same thing, Sweeney Murdy, so Cole has 5 games this year where he's given up 5 runs or more, right? Mm-hmm. In 1996, when Pettit was the rookie, he had 6 games where he gave up 5 runs or more, but they won the World Series. So everybody forgot about it. In 2009, CC Sabathia had 9 of those games. 9. Mm-hmm. But they brought him in as the ace. They won the World Series. Everybody forgot about it. So I think this is a situation where, again, if the Yankees win a World Series somewhere, they're going to forget about this thing too, the Cole. So, and it's stuff like that where it gets easily overlooked, because it's easy to get bash Cole because he's a high money guy, right? And from the pitcher, it's easy to bash Stanton because he makes money. But at the end of the day, Stanton is their clutch postseason guy. Cole has a sub-3 ERA in the postseason despite 1 or 2 clunkers. So they're there. He's the ace, and Stanton's our stud hitter in the postseason. And until that changes, I don't see the point in attacking these guys. You know, I want to support them, I want to back them. You know?
Yeah, And you bring up great points. Stanton, who turns it up a notch in the playoffs, ever since he's been here and he's been healthy in the postseason, he's produced. It's not like he's going through slumps that he's striking out. It's not like you remember in 2006 when we bat A-Rod, what, in the 7th spot, on the 8th spot in the lineup because he was struggling so bad in the postseason. That's not what Stanton's done. It's been more him staying healthy. And I think right now, since they have this big lead in the division, they're resting certain players just to keep them healthy and get them ready for the postseason.
Yeah.
I honestly think if this division was neck and neck with Toronto, 1 or 2 games, I honestly think Stanton would be in that lineup. Same thing with Severino would be in that rotation.
I would agree. And to your point too, I would rather than be reeling right now than in October. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it right, because October everybody starts 0-0. Everybody, and you have a short period of time to either win a series or lose a series. So I want to get these things right now and be ready for that, because it's different. It's a whole different attack in the playoffs. Whole different attack.
All right, I gotta want to go to the chat real quick. I want to Chris Dixon. Haven't seen you here, but salute. Thanks for tuning in. He said, "Hey guys, I have a question. What food and drink do you consume while you watch the Yankees?" Frankie, go ahead, answer that and throw it over to Jason. While you watch the Yankees, what do you consume?
Usually, I like to get the triple play chicken sandwich. Right, that's always been my thing. But I just haven't been able to find where it's been. I haven't been able to find it over my past couple times going. So last night I got a hamburger and a lemonade. That was my go-to last night. I always got to get the lemonade at Yankee games. Their lemonade is really good. So, but I have not been able to find that sandwich. So I that was always my go-to. And hey, by the way, the last 2 games I've been to, they've lost, and those 2 games I was not able to find my sandwich. I'm just saying.
No, I feel you.
They were 4-0 this year when I was able to eat my sandwich and know where it was in the stadium. But they're 0-2, and when they don't have it, so they got to bring it back just for me when I make my bi-weekly trip to Yankee Stadium.
Go ahead, Jason.
Me? Why? I mean, I stick with the water during the live streams at least. I don't want to be running to the head and be like missing 10 minutes in a live stream. Guys, I'll be back. I gotta go again. No, but I do one thing, and I told you this, Hector. There's a cheat meal that I do. It's a once-a-year cheat meal. It's a Big Mac, and I take the apple pie, I put it in the Big Mac, and I wolf it down. It's phenomenal. Okay, you're putting awesome on awesome. It cannot get worse. It can't. Okay, and then the fries, it's ridiculous. I've done it on the live streams. I've done it when the lockout ended. I've done it when we hit 10,000 subs, and I just did it during the trade deadline. So
I thought we were talking about at the game. If I'm sitting home watching the Yankees, I just grab a water and leftovers from the night before. That's my go-to during the. If I'm sitting there watching the game, I grab a water and leftovers, and that's how I watch.
At the game, usually the chicken and the fries, but now they have so many different things. They got steak, sushi.
Last night, oh my god, I got something last night. Oh my god, I just didn't know they had a Benihana at Yankee Stadium. For all that, I've been 10 times over the last 2 years. I just didn't know they had it.
Where's the Benihana?
They have a Benihana. It's on the second tier, past the first food court.
Yeah, because we sat at the third baseline last night, and my mom was like, "Hey, they have Benihana. You want something?" I was like, "They have Benihana. What the hell?" So I got chicken and rice, and it was good. I was like, "Dude, I'm eating healthy at the Yankee game. What is this?" Of course, I had to screw it up and get my hamburger and popcorn, but.
Well, one thing I can say, if I'm watching the game, everybody knows me. I'm a big fan of chicken tendies. Doesn't matter where I get them from. Chicken tendies and French fries, sign me up. But at the game, I did notice there's a few disparities when it comes to the food. Right, this is the key. I was gifted tickets to the Delta Suite. Right, just so you know, whenever you go to the suites, the food is 10 times better than what they give to the regular pedestrians out on the concourse in Yankee Stadium, right? Us, low level peasants, we get the microwavable chicken. But if you go to the suites, they got this guy come out and he had this beef rack and he was just cutting just straight brisket straight off of it, and it was the most mouthwatering thing. I honestly felt like I was like, this is what life is.
Brazilian steakhouse, man, the churrasco, and you just put the green light, just keep coming, cutting that stuff up in the Brazilian steakhouse in those suites.
Mhm.
Yeah. We sat at the suite on the third base line last year. We also got gifted those tickets. But we sat in the Legend Suite last year. We got it was a gift from my uncle. Those were the best seats I've ever sat in, and we got free food. We were like, dude, what?
You can
We
never
got
anytime
it was
free
literally
is
a
next to
free Yankee
food,
game
it's
we
a
got to go to
great
last year
combination.
because we got the free tickets from my uncle, and then we got the free food. It was literally a free Yankee game. We were like,
Hey,
dude,
you
what is better than that?
Yeah,
can't turn that down. Tonight, I just want to let everybody know tonight I will be in Brooklyn watching the Cyclones versus the Hudson Valley Renegades.
There we
I'm
go.
going so I can see my man Jason Dominguez and Austin Wells again. Hopefully, I get another foul ball and I could get them to finally get me an autograph. Because when I was in Tampa, the security guards they were Gestapos, right? I'm gonna just put it out there. They were worse than the CIA. They were worse than the FBI coming down on a helicopter. They didn't even let me sneeze next to these guys. But
That's fine.
hopefully tonight in Brooklyn, I'm able to finally get a Jason Dominguez autograph,
Yeah,
right?
Jason Dominguez doesn't sign. I've tried at the Renegades. You know, they're not far from me. I've tried. My friends tried.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm going there, right, with a big Dominican Republic hat on, right? I'm going there with a Dominican flag on my hat, and I'm gonna bring him a plate of mango and salami. You have to have that. You have to do that, Frankie. You next time, let me know so I could give you the recipe how to make some mango.
Got it. Will do. And I'll make sure to give it to him. Oh my God. One of my friends was at the game the other day, the Renegades. And I don't know, he got a foul ball. So he catches the foul ball, and then you know, it was like in BP. So he went to go ask Dominguez, and walks by him. And one of the security guards was like, hey, he signs autographs for like 3 or 4 people after the game. So my friend calls me up. He's freaking out. He's like, I got a ball. Jason Dominguez signs for 3 people after the game. He's going to sign it for me. And then he calls me back after the game on the way home. He goes, he didn't sign my ball. I was like, no shit, he didn't sign your ball. He's 21 years old. He's not signing for you.
Yeah.
You hear those
Go
trolls?
Go ahead, Jay.
They were screaming overrated for Jason Dominguez, and Dominguez decided to shut him up yesterday. Put out several hits. Yeah. I like when he shuts up haters, man. I like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got a one thing, Chris, right here. Just so you know, next week Thursday, right? It's a dedicated episode. We are sending Frankie off. Frankie will be going to college. So next week Thursday, we're going to have a celebration. Yeah, we'll talk Yankees for a little bit, but yes, next week Thursday episode is solely dedicated to send our guy Frankie off properly. Frankie's going to be making his PayPal. So anybody, if you're in the chat, if you could send a good 10, 20 bucks to my man Frankie as he gets ready for college, because you guys know toiletries are expensive nowadays. Toothpaste and toilet tissue is expensive. So let's send our guy Frankie off properly.
Congratulations, dude.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
It's awesome, dude. Where you heading to college?
I'm going to St. Bonaventure University. It's up by Buffalo. It's small. It's like 600 kids, but I don't know. I went to a really small high school, so I feel like it's gonna be easy, because the transition is gonna be really easy from small to small. So I don't know. I'm excited though.
Well, it's not many more places that are sexier than Buffalo. So
yeah, right.
According to Marshawn Lynch, that was his favorite place to play, Frankie.
Oh yeah, there you go. I'm like 45 minutes away from the Bill Stadium, so
nice.
Yeah,
nice. Well, now the Bills are good, so you're probably you got Bills Mafia up there. So
a lot of people that I know that are going, we met on the Facebook group, whatever. Everyone that I know, they're all from Buffalo, and they're all Bills fans. I'm like the only Cowboys fan I think in the entire school.
Cowboys.
You know what I mean? I think I'm one of the few non-Bills fans going to that school. So it's going to be tough. I think they play the Bills. They played the Bills next season, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna in Buffalo. So I'm gonna go to that game with a ton of my friends that I know already, and I'm gonna be in my Cowboys jersey, my Dak Prescott jersey from 2016, and they're all gonna be making fun of me. The Bills are gonna win too. So I know that.
This is how you win them over, Frankie. I throw it to Jason. This is how you win them over.
Yeah.
Just jump through a table, bro. Whenever you get an opportunity to jump through a table, jump through that damn table.
Off the top of a car. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be.
Do the Matt Foley and Chris Farley just fall right through that freaking thing.
I think I would break my back. Oh my
Now,
god.
speaking of making fun of, look, I'm gangrene now all day, Jets.
Oh
We are only 20 guys away from being decent, so don't make fun of us. Don't
Hey,
make fun of us.
listen, it's there has to be some kind of curse that's going on with you guys or whatever, because
Yeah.
going into the season, I had super expectation and high hopes for Zach Wilson, right? He came in, he put on weight, 20 pounds of muscle, he was looking mean. It looked like he went through puberty during the offseason as well. Speaking to the reporters, doing interviews, he spoke so well. Then he got injured. You know, I don't fault him for that injury, right? Because I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, he should have just went out of bounds or whatever. No, he was being competitive.
Yeah.
It's you can say, you know, you could try to look into the future and hindsight 50-50. Hopefully he comes back and you guys can get something out of him. But there has to be some way that we can exercise whatever curse is going on with the Jets, because my man Jigga Man Porto, he is a diehard Jet fan, right? A diehard Jet fan. So I need you and Jigga Man to get some good luck this year.
The last time I went to a Jets game, they played the Giants. I went with my uncle, and it was when they first opened up MetLife. And I think I may have told you this. My uncle and I sat at the 30-yard line, the second row.
Oh wow!
Right in front of us, James Gandolfini, Tony Soprano.
Oh, nice.
In front of us, dude. And one of the nicest guys. First of all, he's gigantic. Okay, he is big. He had this Carhartt hat on, a skull. We were in there in December. It was freezing. Okay, it was freezing, and he was there with his Jet stuff. He was bear clawing us, high fiving. He was one of the nicest people I've ever met in the world.
That's funny.
Nice.
He sat right in front of us, man. James Gandolfini.
Nice.
Yeah.
When I worked as an EMT, I was able to meet fireman Ed.
Yeah.
Just because my EMS instructor, in school, he was friends with fireman Ed back in the day when he worked in Manhattan. They worked at the same firehouse or whatever, but he was friends with him back in the day, so I was able to meet him back in 2014. Before he retired as a Jet fan, I was able to meet him.
we need a new frying pan, Fred over here. Remember the guy?
Yeah.
Used to go around the Fred who used to bang around the frying pan with the spoon.
With the Yankees.
The Yankees, yeah.
No. That was probably before my time.
Oh man, this guy's he was notorious for it. I'll put a next time I do
a video. Yeah, put a.
You'll see what I'm talking about. He was like 120 years old. He was walking around the stadium with a spoon banging the frying pan. He was notorious.
What I know, it's a guy Eddie that he does the roll call now for the Yankees. It's the guy you remember back in the day when Yes had that Yankees road trip TV show, and that's where Meredith Marakatif, she got her first start, was from that TV show with a guy, the bald guy Eddie, who does the roll calls at Yankee Stadium games. Yeah. If you guys go and look up Jeter's last game and the roll call, he was the guy that got the roll call going. But he started at the Yankees, that Yankees road trip TV show. And when I was a kid, I thought the Yes record was like MTV. I was recording, DVRing every Yankeeography, every Yankee TV show at 10 o'clock at night. That was me as a kid. I was that type of child.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But
man.
we about to dip out right now. Jason, I appreciate you so much, brother, and taking your time out this morning and sitting down and talking with us lunatics real quick. Any last message you got for the fans before we dip out for the chat?
Hang in there. Keep your chins up. It's like Rocky Balboa. We're always going to get back up. We don't know when we're going to get back up, but we will get back up. So just hang in there, gang. Just hang in there. The Yankees will be fine.
Yep.
Absolutely. And guys, make sure you guys already do, but if you aren't, make sure you tap into my man Jason from 161 River Ave, 161 River Mafia, 161 River Gang. Stand up. I appreciate you, Jason, for coming through and chopping it up with me and Frankie. Like I said, my guys, we'll be right back after this break. I swear that techno music always gets me going. Like I'm a little jealous that I put that together. Well, Jigga Man put that together and sent it to Jason, because I'm like, God, that little techno music, it just gets you going.
Yeah.
It just gets you jumping. But Frankie, any last thoughts before we dip off? Just because I'm not gonna put the thing in the chat or whatever, just because I got to dip away, handle some stuff before I head down to Brooklyn. But any last thoughts before we leave, bro?
No, man. Big game tonight. Big series, and big series coming up next week with the Mets. So hopefully we can figure it out. Offense figures out. JMO stays on his hot streak of pitching. Hopefully gives us another pretty good start. Like I said, I think tonight really is going to help determine JMO's future going into the playoffs because, like I said, teams like Toronto, we're going to see Toronto and those type of teams in the playoffs. So if he can show out, have a solid start, I think he can kind of solidify his spot as our 4-starter going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, same. Hopefully the Yankees can rebound, like we talked about. That Montas, that Montas, that start, he can have it. He's coming back off injury.
Mm-hmm.
He did give up 6 runs, but he still went 6 innings. Our bullpen wasn't burnt. Yes, Albert Abreu and Lucas Licky. Albert Abreu gave up 2 runs. Lucas Licky came in afterwards. But if you look at the pecking order when it comes to our bullpen, Licky and they're at the bottom. So we didn't burn any of our major contributors.
Not at all.
Not at all. Ron Marinaccio wasn't out there. Wandy wasn't out there. So our bullpen should be good for the rest of this series. But like you said, hopefully Taillon can come back tonight and, right the ship back for our starting pitchers. But I'm confident in this weekend series. We'll be able to discuss it Monday. We'll be able to discuss it Monday. I will be at the Cyclones tonight. Frankie and I will be back on Monday. Mm-hmm. And Tuesday we'll be at the stadium as well.
Stadium, yeah, man. So
Jiggerman had put into the chat. He said, "I think we need a Yankees group meetup for a game next month. Who is in?" We'll talk about that on Monday. We'll try to set that up. But Frankie, brother, I love you, my guy. Wish you a great weekend.
You too, bro. You too.
Yeah, I'm your guy, Project Nerd HQ. This is my co-host Frankie 2 times, and we are out. Peace. And yeah, I forgot to say this. Make sure you guys tune into Michael Myers and the 4 Train Express going live today at 4 p.m. I feel so bad. I'm such a bad friend. Maza, I love you. Peace.